All right, off we go. In our very cool swag, we're starting off the episode. Everyone's wearing reinvent stuff. Well, Alex has got her very cool jacket that I'm jealous of. But yeah, we got some nice swag at reInvent, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. All about announcements and about stuff that we learn, and also some advice. So I think we're going to split it out like that. So we'll start off with doing some announcements and kind of things that we focus on and want to highlight, especially in the web optimization. And then we're going to go into some best bits. But generally, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling after reInvent? Alex?
I'm still recovering. I told someone the other day in a meeting, I think my ankles are going to be swollen for at least another 2 weeks. For anyone looking for tips at reInvent, I just wouldn't suggest doing it 6 months pregnant. I thought that I was going to be very, boss babe, woman power. But you're only proving that to yourself. So I strongly suggest people take it easy, prioritize yourself. But no, it was amazing. I'm still recovering though.
Yeah, definitely. Savannah, how about you?
I'm feeling more alive, like almost back to normal. I would say it's just an emotional gauntlet as well as a physical one. You're on your feet so much and there's just so much stimulus all the time. So it's definitely taken me a bit to unwind from that. And it's not like real life and work stops while you're there either. So bit of catch up to do when I came back, but I'm feeling closer to the norm. So we'll take that.
It was definitely weird to come back to having like 3 normal meals a day. That was the big thing I noticed, because some days we just didn't eat. Like we're running around so much that you were just like, oh, I'll have a cookie for lunch.
I was doing my receipts and I was like, where are all the meals? Where are they?
I was like, mostly you paid for mine, so that's where my
all my meals were room service, honestly, because I like just crashed so hard every night. But I was like, oh no, I forgot to take pictures of receipts, and then I was like, nope, I just probably took cookies out of vegan salad boxes for 4 days straight.
Oh my God, brilliant. So yeah, tip number 1, if you're going to go to reInvent next year, prioritize yourself, make sure you plan when you're going to eat, because otherwise you won't. But yeah, okay, let's get into the proper show. So welcome everyone to the Keys to AWS Optimization, the show where we share stories, concepts, and solutions to help you unlock your spend at AWS. My name is Stephanie Gooch, and I'm a senior commercial architect at AWS. Alex?
My name is Alex Head, and I run the optics team for our strategic industries.
And my name is Savannah Jensen, and I am a senior customer enablement specialist on the optics team supporting telco.
Great. So today, like we said, we're going to be talking all about reInvent, some top announcements, and we've got a little fun way of choosing what ones to go first. But if you are joining us, then don't forget, you can always check out all of our past videos on YouTube, the Keys to AWS Optimization, just by Googling that or going on this link. And you can find all different types of videos and different stories there. And if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us live, let us know, what did you see at reInvent? What was your favorite announcement? Did you get any good swag? That's one of the good things. We're obviously wearing some of ours, and we'll be kind of showing off in a little bit some of our favorite bits. But let's get into the announcements before we start. So I created I accidentally called it Wheel of Misfortune yesterday, which they found very funny, which is a BBC podcast. But so we've got this wheel here of a bunch of announcements that we are interested in. So we're going to click it, and then whoever's it is going to go for it. So hopefully this works. All right. EFS throughput. Who was that?
Alex? That's me.
Oh, it's you, Sam.
Yeah. So as the name suggests, we now have elastic throughput for EFS, which is pretty exciting. It is a pay-as-you-use pricing model. So no need to provision how much you think you're going to need. It just automatically kind of gives you as much throughput as you're going to need, and you pay as you go, just like a lot of AWS services you find kind of familiar. It's really ideal for spiky workloads. So if you're not really sure what your workload is going to look like, definitely keep this in the back of your mind. And it already kind of adds on to the bursting throughput mode that we have, but with that added flexibility. So pretty exciting. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
I like giving customers more flexibility. That is definitely one of the highlights of these things. And with all these things, we'll try and make you aware of the pricing if there's any big changes to worry about. With this one, I think the main one when I was looking up the pricing is that you will pay for the reads and writes for these, whereas provisioned, you just pay kind of a set fee for the gigabytes, I think, or megabytes. So yeah, that's a nice one to kick us off with. So I'll keep flicking back and forth. Alex, anything you want to add on EFS?
Nope, I've got my EFS one ready to go. I gotta save all my EFS knowledge for that right there. We're spinning. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say while we're spinning, there was some. I'll post it in the chat, but an article released last night on some of the things that AWS said during reInvent on prioritizing helping our customers become more efficient. Like a specific line in it of. Celeste told CNBC that AWS teams are working with customers that are trying to become more efficient. So really cool about, some of the work and stuff we're doing and some of these announcements, just like preface in your head. But go ahead, spin the wheel. This one wasn't me though. Definitely didn't help everyone.
Yeah, the Lambda one was me. So the Lambda snapshot. So this is really important if you're using Java in your Lambda functions. And what this normally means is that when you're initializing that Lambda function, you spend time, like the Lambda function spends time doing that initialization. And so with this, what it does is when you do that the first time, it takes a snapshot, saves that. So when you go to run the Lambda again, you don't have to do that initialization. So that is kind of really important if you are, it might only save like a small bit of time, but if you are running that Lambda function every day, every hour, thousands of times, that kind of saving of time is going to really add up. And we found that there's going to be a kind of 10 times faster on your Lambda functions with no extra cost. So the good thing about this is it's there's no extra charge for using this as a service. You just charge like the normal amount. You're kind of just opting into it. And so it's just a really good way of kind of speeding up your Lambda, especially when you pay the gigabyte of seconds when that's running. So just to highlight that. And also if you don't, one thing to mention that people forget quite a lot is that you can use ARM on your Lambda function. So just wanted to plug that in again there. So that will also give you up to 10% saving on your Lambda functions and be more efficient. So if you're going to do one, then check out the other. And I'll just showcase up the link that Alex was talking about, how to see a bit more about what she was just speaking about. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Oh, EFS, Alex, it's your time. She muted herself.
Oh my gosh, sorry. I stay away from this for a week and then Thanksgiving, and I forgot how to unmute and mute myself. So EFS moved to the availability to have a 1-day life cycle into infrequent access. Previously, the shortest time was 7 days. So this kind of increases savings if you know that something isn't going to be accessed. Savannah gave a good example when we were brainstorming before of, if you have certain things that are just for compliance sake and that to start, you can just go ahead and after day one, go ahead and move it into the less expensive tier. So exciting announcement there.
And Savannah, what was the workloads that you mentioned these would be good for?
Compliance workloads. So anything that you're retaining just for your records that that you're not going to be accessing often, but need to have on hand.
Nice. All right. Okay. Getting through these. What else we got? Oh, Compute Optimizer. This was a big one.
Yeah, this is a really exciting one. It's a good reInvent for Rick. He was really excited to launch this. But Compute Optimizer has launched a bunch of new enhanced metrics to give you more configurability in terms of the recommendations that you get. In my opinion, I think the most exciting part of this for me is that you can now configure your look back period to include 3 months of metrics instead of just the 14 days that we had before. So this is really great if you have a spike in your workload or a seasonality that happened within the last 2 weeks and you want to make sure that your Compute Optimizer is not just looking at that peak and want to consider a bigger timeline looking back. It also brings it up to par, a lot closer to all of the look back tools that we have in Cost Explorer. So if you're used to looking at everything on a 30-day look back when you kind of go into those recommendations tools, you can now do the same thing in Compute Optimizer and really get a bigger look at what's going on in your environment when you're getting those recommendations.
Nice. And generally as well for the pricing, it's only a little bit, is that right, of money for that? So
Yep.
yeah, do you want to go for it?
Oh, let me pull up the exact pricing. It's very reasonable. You do pay for those enhanced metrics, but it's fairly small. And I can drop the exact number in the chat once I grab it.
I'd also say let's pause on this one for a minute. This is a really big one. We talk a lot about cost visibility and the importance of giving your teams that detail to move to more efficient environments and to actually motivate them. And this is just giving you more detail. So there's so many different things listed on this announcement, like partners that we've worked with on it. I really encourage you to take a look and see if you can take advantage of this and how you can enhance your data.
Mm-hmm. And another really important thing about this kind of stuff is that, as I just mentioned, you are paying for it. So, but that doesn't mean you have to have the servers on all the time. So I think it tracks per resource that it's looking at. So you can just enable it somewhere, use it for a bit, and then turn it off. So if you're doing a big optimization or a big review of a new deployment and you want to really check that the last month is like, okay, let's look over a longer period of time, then you can do that, make some changes, and then turn it back off again if you're not going to use it. So we don't really want to be spending money that you don't need to.
And I just dropped the pricing in the chat. It is a very small, very specific number. And I now realize why I didn't remember it, because there's quite a few digits in there.
It's quite a few, but I think 25 cents a month is basically one to account for. So if you only have a couple of resources in one account, pretty easy, pretty standard. But if you have thousands and thousands, just don't enable it without checking this kind of thing. I think it's a good thing. Okay. Let's see, we've got a couple more left. Yeah, RLS, this is my one. Okay, so this is a really exciting announcement. So this isn't a formal reInvent big one, but I wanted to put it in here because it's something that we're now showing. So as probably people who have watched a lot of these videos have heard about the cloud intelligence dashboards, we have enabled something called row level security for it. So there is already row level security for QuickSight, which is basically deciding who can see what data based on usernames or emails. But what we've done now is we've created an automated plugin to the cloud intelligence dashboards. So this is based on your organization structure. So you tag your accounts, OUs, payers with the email addresses of users in QuickSight. You want to be able to see that data. And then by just deploying the small little Lambda function, you can actually allow those people to only see that data. So for example, if I am managing an entire organization, then I can see all of it. Alex might only own one organizational unit that might equate to a business unit in the organization. So she can only see that data. And Savannah's under Alex, so she can only see that one account that she looks after. That's a way of kind of controlling it. And there's something that a lot of customers have been asking about. Every customer I spoke to at reInvent about cloud intelligence wanted to kind of ask this question. So it's out there. Have a go. Let us know if you use it. It's brand new. So we're looking to add SSO onto it as well to kind of simplify the application. So yeah, cool. All right. I think we've got two more. CloudWatch. Alex,
That's me. That's me. So this is really giving you the ability to kind of mush your data a little bit easier with CloudWatch. So you're able to search and analyze and correlate that cross-account data stored in CloudWatch and also integrate it with AWS organizations. So typically, I mean, back when I first started doing optimization in FinOps world, and I worked at the Weather Channel, I would have to go into each individual account, pull that data, consolidate it, and look at it to watch some of the CloudWatch trends. This makes that a lot easier. And then another, playing into what Savannah said around Compute Optimizer, just another way to make that data even more accessible, even more detail, so that you can make decisions off of that. One thing with the CloudWatch data that I always tell people to do, tying that into optimization, is to really look at, for example, maybe your EC2 environment. Look at what the max your CPU, your instances are hitting in a 30, 45 day period, right? If they're not going above, like say 2%, then maybe that's something you look at. It's a good way to flag those resources and understand your traffic a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I remember looking back, especially not only from an entire organization point of view, maybe even from, we just mentioned business units being able to see their own data in QuickSight. You can now do this with CloudWatch. So you can kind of group those accounts. So the ones that you're looking across, it doesn't have to be the entire organization. You can just do a couple of accounts and then allow that access. So if you own an app and you have dev, prod, and test, you don't necessarily want to have to jump between those three. You just want to be able to see how your different applications are running. And then you can do things like right sizing easier and checking your logs and kind of tracking everything. I just think this is such a really useful, simple thing that we've enabled. And in terms of costs, I'm double checking. There's no additional costs for it. So the first one is free. So yeah, I think if you move an account because you create a monitoring account, there's like a select account, you want to enable everything to look around. So that first one's free. I think if you have more than one, that might cost you something. But the other thing is that if any logs or log analysis, dashboards, or alarms that you put on top of that data is where a fee will be, just as normal, but collecting the data to one single monitoring account is free.
Also would say, while you're in CloudWatch, while you're setting this up and experimenting and trying things out, check on your retention policies. I met with 2 different customers at reInvent that did not have retention policies for their CloudWatch data. And that cost just kept going higher and higher because they were never recycling it out. So something to check on while you're in the CloudWatch world.
Yeah, definitely. The CloudWatch space of optimization is, I think we've already done an episode. So check out again our YouTube channel for that. But the storage stuff is just as simple as you pay for what you store on Amazon. So it's really obvious one, but a lot of log groups specifically are created automatically. And so the frequencies never expire because we don't want to delete any of your data. So it's your job to go and change that. And that's a really good call out to do that. And if anyone came to my chalk talk, we talked about it for a long time. I think that's the post to our previous one. And also shout out to Eric. CloudWatch is now a single pane of glass, which is true. That's one of the best things we want to aim for when it comes to this kind of optimization data, whether that's in CloudWatch or even mentioned the optimization data collector as a way of doing that.
Okay. And Eric was one of the people who helped me try and figure out how to consolidate CloudWatch data. So he knows that pain point very well.
Shout out Eric, friend of the show. Okay, last one. Is there another one? Oh, that's okay. There is. I wonder what it will be. RDS. There we go. Let me hide this back. Okay, so the very last one. RDS optimize reads and writes. I'll put this into it. So the big thing now is that you can save. So you can have kind of a snapshot of your queries so that they're saved, so that you can, when you run workloads for MySQL, rather than it being somewhere else on your EBS volume, it's attached to an SSD that's connected to the actual machine. So that means that it runs a lot faster. I think it's twice as fast. So it just means that generally your queries run faster, which will be a more optimized resource, and there'll be more space on your actual EBS volumes that are attached to your machines. That's just kind of a simple, means that if you're running things up and down, that means you can turn them off faster. It means you can make them smaller. So general optimization opportunities all around, and always a shout out that you can use Graviton on that as well. So just keep an eye on those kind of things. Okay. So those are our kind of top announcements. What I'll also do is just highlight, we have this, which was made out with John, who's another host of the show, which is a list of all of the different announcements that we think were kind of really relevant. We just went through a couple of our favorites. We can't share this link easily, but if you would like this, then feel free to email the show. And I'm trying to get my mouse back on the screen. Email the show at costoptimization@amazon.com, and I will send you that. Otherwise, the URLs are quite tiny, so you can always use those. But yes, there's a lot of really cool announcements. So let us know if you use any of those. Okay, so did we want to touch on some of the sessions or videos that we did that we saw, or we didn't see any because we were at Amazon, that we've heard about and like to suggest? Have you guys got any that you want to highlight?
Well, I'd also like to, so this was my 5th reInvent, and Steph, this is your first one on the AWS side. Savannah is your first one. So I know we have some good playlists and stuff of the videos, and I know Optics had the privilege of being involved in a lot of that. But I'm curious, while we still have some time left, what was like the biggest surprise of reInvent? And I guess what was some of like your favorite moment sort of thing? And tying also like what was some of the favorite sessions that you've gotten feedback on from that?
Savannah, do you want to go first?
So I would say my favorite thing about reInvent and all of my highlights are around meeting people. So meeting folks that I've worked with on the customer side for years and never met in person, seeing familiar faces. I've been in the cost and financial management support space for 5 years now. So I've kind of cycled through a couple of customers and worked with a large variety of folks. So just seeing familiar faces and getting to connect with people was amazing. I would say the biggest surprise was how much I enjoyed working the booth, because you just get so many questions.
You better be careful. Oh man, next year you're gonna have like nonstop.
She's already asked.
But just the questions that you get and folks kind of wandering up. There are some people who really come up with a focus and they know what they want to ask and kind of have like a very targeted question, which is super fun because they're very off the wall and like they can be anything. And then there are some folks who kind of are just walking through the AWS village and are like, oh, what is this? Like, tell me more about what you do. What should I know about this? So it's just a really good variety. And I felt like it made the time go so fast. So that was my favorite part for sure. And biggest surprise.
I'd definitely echo those. Like the meeting people stuff was really fun. There's so many people. I've been doing the circuit of speaking at events or going to like events around this kind of topic for a while. So I know a lot of people. So it's really nice to see friends that I've made along the way and kind of catch up with people. But I think the ones where you're meeting people that you don't know is also really interesting. Going to those, like we went to FinOps meetups, we went to Women in FinOps meetups, and also we did sessions with customers that I've never worked with before and kind of just chatting to people, learning what they're doing, kind of sharing ideas and just kind of being inspired by customers and also peers is also just really good fun. So if you're going like next year, many people watch this hopefully just before they go next year, we'll probably have to rewatch it to remember that it's a good time. Somewhere there's a picture of us all with our heads in our hands at a bar because we were so exhausted. But I think that just making time to go and meet people that you don't know is as important as seeing people that you do. And then the kiosk was good fun. I remember there's like two sets of questions I either got. There was someone who came up to me and said, "Hi, I'm doing this as a job now. What do I do?" And I was like, that's okay. Where do we start? And then we kind of went through some things and she got some hopefully helpful advice. And then also people come up and say, "I've got a really hard question to ask you," and you kind of panic and then say, "Okay, let's see if we can solve this or find someone else who can solve it or email me later and we'll solve it." But if you're going, I think the Amazon Village is where what we're talking about when we talk about reInvent for this. There were little stands based on different subjects and stuff like that. So, or different services. And we had a cloud financial management one. And people do just amble through and be like, "Oh, they've got stickers. Let me go chat to them." But if you are going to go to reInvent, maybe think about the services you care about or elements that you care about and go and seek out those people. And just, if anything, make a connection. Knowing someone in a service area is often beneficial if it's something you work with every day. So yeah. Alex, what about you? What were some of your favorite bits?
I mean, to think of, so my first reInvent at AWS, Optics didn't exist. And, the next one I went to was virtual. And then last year there was like some people who would say the term optics, some people but it wasn't super common. And same with the cloud intelligence dashboards. Like last year, that was a huge topic of like teaching people they were out there. And this year, I don't think there was a single person I met with that didn't lead with asking about the optics team. And also tell me they were already using the cloud intelligence dashboards and just wanted to learn even more, which was a really cool feeling. And it's because of all the hard work that the teams put in this year, especially you two. And so I think that was just like a really cool feeling of, going from my first reInvent, not knowing a single person and not even really knowing how to explain what my job was, to people just knowing the team. And some of the things that the team has made was just a really cool feeling. I'd say, I didn't get to go to your Chalk Talk. I wish I could. They were locking it down. But I wish I was able to see a little bit more. I've been catching up on some of the sessions since we got back. I loved our workshop. I know that that's going live. Do you have that link?
I don't have the link, but we'll find it and put it on the YouTube.
Yeah. And so I think it's all on the KPI dashboard and how to utilize it and kind of gamifying it. So there was so much, but I echo what Steph just said of, if you go next year, not too much stuff, but maybe pick like 5 things that you absolutely want to make sure you either talk about or do, because when you get there, it is just like falls to the wall. Like you just have to like go, and you kind of forget. It was also really cool seeing the how present the FinOps Foundation was at reInvent this year. It's continued to grow. We got to do a couple events with them. Matt Garman came to one of the sponsored events, and we got to meet him, and I made him look very small with the angle on the picture. You could check out. I'm pretty sure I put it on LinkedIn. But I think that was really cool. I mean, just even walking through the expo hall, seeing the word FinOps everywhere was just the change in how that's happened is a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. It was memorable. And definitely the FinOps Foundation did a lot of things. And they have a conference coming up next year in San Diego, I'm going to say. I think that's the right place. So if you're interested in more learning about FinOps, then I'd recommend checking that out. I'm going to apply to do my others talk again there. So I did a talk on optimizing the other services. And it was really good fun. I've got to wrap the notes for that because there was a lot of interesting conversations. The people in the crowd were not shy to throw super technical questions. And luckily I had Yuri with me, who was a really good co-host for that session. And so he was on the other week talking about Kudos Hidden Gems, if you want to check that out. Okay, so we've got a couple more minutes. I do want to show off my favorite bit of swag that I got, which was this very cool personalized Keys hat, which I'm just going to... I should wear it. I don't know if it looks good on me, but I'm going to keep that on for a little bit. Savannah, what was the thing that you got?
I got a scrunchie from the Red Hat booth, and I love it. It's actually a really great scrunchie, too. I've never seen a scrunchie that's swag before, so I was really excited to see it.
I like that idea.
Yeah, right.
There was looking for scrunchies now.
There's a real mixed bag of the swag. Just Googling it.
I had very little time to look for swag, but I got this cool jacket, which fits over my bump, which is a plus. And I got a onesie, like a child's onesie, despite what Savannah thinks, because she was like actually about to go pick up an adult onesie and never leave it.
I'm glad that we didn't go to that store when it was open. There was a store at reInvent where you could buy swag, which is where Alex got her jacket from. And we went by it just to like peer in when it was closed. And I feel like my bank account is lucky that it wasn't open because there was some stuff that I would have bought and I would have hated myself later because we do get a lot of swag from work.
Oh, so yeah, I think your suitcase was already a bit full.
Oh my God, my suitcase. Because I also got a drone. Look at this. Who is it? Rackspace giving out a drone. But at the end of the week, this poor woman just wanted to get rid of them, I think, because a lot of people don't want to take stuff home. That's a top tip. Swag, if you're going to get stuff, day 1, t-shirts, because they have all the sizes. Day 4, 5, whatever it is. Then go for the stuff that people don't want to take home. So get things like, someone was giving out massage guns, like the Theraguns, but I never found out who that was. There was drones, notebooks. People were just giving out food. They didn't want to take home, so it was good. Okay, we've got a minute left. Any final thoughts or things you want to share, guys?
I would say if you want to continue on the FinOps conversation, if this episode of Twitch wasn't enough for you, I believe the State of FinOps is about to go live right after we're done, and you can jump over to LinkedIn. I'll throw the link over.
Yeah, go for it. They're very good. And if there's a couple of things. Also, to shout out John Meyer. We went on his live stream, the 3 of us, which was really good fun meeting him in person. He's been on the show recently. Check out John's video with us 3 just chatting about stuff. And then Alex has just shared the link about how to see the FinOps Foundation bits and bobs. All right. I think, anything else anyone wants to close out with? Someone just said, my bags are so full. They shipped a box of swag home. That's clever. Wow. I did pack an extra. That's a good shout.
That would have been a little more difficult for London stuff. I don't know if that's as easy, but it's okay.
I forgot. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, that's all of us for today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week for our holiday panel special. We're going to be talking about some general look backs in the year and optimizations in general. And also send us your questions. Cost optimization at amazon.com. Please send us questions and we can answer them, or join the live stream and we can chat. People have been sending in very Christmassy questions that are not necessarily about AWS. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week.